Hello everyone, welcome to Bad Fashions YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by my channel. If this is your first time of clicking on my video, please do not hesitate to subscribe and also put on the notification bell so that you get notified once I post a new video. So today we're going to be learning how to make a four pieces skirt. So to make a four pieces skirt, the measurements we need are the waist measurement. Here the waist measurement I'm working with is 33 inches. The hip measurement is 43. The skirt length is 41 inches. And we need from waist to knee. That's the distance from waist to knee is 22 inches. So, and then you also need your waist to hip measurement, which is 9 inches in this case. So now, for me to fold my fabric, to determine the amount of fabric to fold, you're going to be using the hip measurement, which is this 43 divided by 4. So when you divide 43 by 4, it will give us 10 and 3/4. That's which is 10.75. Okay, so 10.75. That 10.75, I'm going to multiply it by 2. So once you multiply 10.75 by 2, that will give you 21.5 inches. So 21.5. So 21.5, I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. So that is it. So everything I'll be folding now is going to be 23 inches, and which is what I have folded already. So you can see, so this is even a little more than that, but that's fine. So we actually need 23 inches. So in this case, it depends on how much fabric you have to use. So you can see that here that I have 23 inches already. 23 plus 23, that's 46. So I remember that a yard of fabric, that is about 36 inches. So here I'm already working with 46 inches, so I'm almost using 1.5 for just the front. So if you have enough fabric, you can do your hip measurement times 2 or times 2.5. It just depends on how much you want it to be, but in my own case I'm doing times 2. Okay, so the first line I have here is the waistline, the second is the hip line, the third is the knee line, and this knee line is 20 inches. The actual knee line of my client is 22 inches. I went up by 2 inches. This is so that the man-made effect will start above the hip line. You don't want it to be exactly on the above the knee line, sorry. You don't want the man-made effect to start exactly on the knee line. It will actually stop, it will interrupt movement, or it will affect the movement of the person. So that is why it's advisable to get the knee point and then go up by 2 inches, so which is my 20 inches here. And then the full length of the skirt is 41 inches. Okay, so having said that, remember that we multiplied our hip measurement by 2, and here we have 10.75. Okay, so this 10.75 that we have here, I'm just going to place my tape like this. This is 10.75, that's 10 and 3/4. I'll place my tape like this and fold into 2 to get the midpoint. So once I have that midpoint, you can see that 5.25 and then 1/8 of an inch. So that is like 5.4. Okay, so I'm going to mark that 5.4 here. So I'm marking 5.4 from the folded edge of my fabric. You can see this part is the part that is folded and this part is open. So this is now the center front. So I'll get my ruler and then rule a straight line. So having done this now, all my measurements will start from here. That's from this line. So now I'm going to enter quarter of the waist measurement. Quarter of her waist is 8.25. Then plus 2 inches for my sewing allowance. Quarter of the hip measurement is 10.75. Then I'll also go ahead and add my 2 inches for sewing allowance. So now what you have here on the hip line is what determines what we'll be using here on the knee line. So everything I have here is 12 and 3/4. I'll be subtracting 1.5 from it. You can do 2 inches, you can do 1.5 inch from it, depending on how tight fitting you want this place to be. So in this case, I'm doing 1.5. So that will leave me with what I have here is 12 and 3/4. So I subtracted 1.5 from it. So that is why I have 11 and quarter here. So now the next thing I'll do is to connect my lines like this. And then I'll get my ruler and open up to the end of my 23 inches. Can you see? So I have the side here. So to get this center, the simple thing to do is this. I'll come to this knee line and then open it up to the end of this half of the hip measurement. That's what I have here. Can you see? So I opened it up. So of course, we'll be joining the two pieces together. All I need to do is to come out by 1/2 inch here, which is going to be for my sewing allowance. And then just going to reconnect like this. So having connected my lines this way, so the next thing I'll be doing is to take my measurement from the knee to this end here. So here I have 21 inches. On this side too, I'm going to measure and see what do I have here. I have about above the 21, so I'm going to mark that 21 inches here. And then I'll also come to the center here and then see what do I have here. I have the same 21 inches. So you can see that. So all you need to do now is to get the curved part of your ruler like this and then connect it like this, and then also to meet this 21 inches here. Okay, so can you see? So you can see this side, so it gives it that nice balance on the floor. Okay, so remember I didn't talk about hemming allowance because I'll be using full lining for it. With this curve, I don't need 2 inches hemming allowance. All I need is just extra 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to increase this length by 1/2 inch, which is going to be for my hemming allowance. So while I'm cutting, I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch. So now we're going to cut out our front pieces. So this is what we have. So I'll come here and cut. So here we now have, you can see I have my extra 1/2 inch, which will be for the hemming. So you can see this is what my two front pieces looks like, and this is how they'll be joined together to give the fullness that we want. Here, can you see? So this is just very easy. So now I'll show us how to cut the back. So I've placed my fabric for the back. So as you can see, the back is a little wider than the front. So here I have about 26 inches. I want to give it that small tail. I just want the back to be fuller compared to the front. And then if you take note, you notice that the hem was at this side when we were drafting for the front, and now the hem is on this side. When you are making panel skirt, that's 4 pieces, it's also a panel, it can be called panel. When you are making panel, once your fabric does not have a particular pattern, you can always turn to the other side. This will actually avoid fabric wastage. because if you notice this place that had the hem is smaller. So since my Ankara does not have a particular pattern, any side I turn it to will still give me the same thing. That is why I brought the hem to this side. Okay, so now here is our center back, and then here is the side back. So basically our measurements are still the same. The only thing I'll be doing extra here now is to add my zip allowance. So we're going to be having a zip allowance of 1.5 inches. So on this place, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches. This is the hip line. This line here on the hip line, take note, can you see that this is my half inch, which is for joining the front piece at the back piece. So I am placing my tape from this half inch, not after the half inch. I'm placing my tape before the half inch. So this is where I marked my 1.5. If you place it after the half inch, that means you're going to be having excess. That means you're adding a zip allowance of 2 inches. But I want to just have 1.5. So I'm placing my tape just right here where is the center front. So I'm marking 1.5. So on this waistline, I'm going to come here and mark the same 1.5. So now this is what I'm going to do. On the knee line here, I'll be creating that bum illusion. You want the skirt to have this fine shape at the back. So take note that this part already has half inch, right? So I'm just going, you can see that this is a half inch, which is for joining the front and the back. So I'll come here now and just place my ruler this way. Can you see what I have? Can you see? So I just took it in. So basically it's just the half inch I need to join my knee together. And then I will come here and open it up down to the end of my wrapper. Can you see? So I open it up down to the end of my wrapper. So now for the waist, remember that I added 1.5 inches here. For this part, what I'll be needing, I'm going to be eliminating half inch. That's, I'm going to be removing half inch from the measurement here. This is for us not to have bulge on the back. Remember that the waist is a bit inwards, so you don't want the zipper to bulge around here. So this 1.5 inches I have here, I'm going to take away 1 inch completely from it. I want the skirt to sit very firm at the back here. So I'm going to mark 1 inch. So basically, what am I left with? I'm left with half inch on this side. So can you see? I'm connecting it to this part. So you can see this part, this is the butt. It's just coming out here. And you can see this part is going inward. So I have removed 1 inch from here. I will come back here to this side. Instead of adding back that 1 inch that I removed, I'll come back here and add half inch to this side. And see, I just came out by half inch on this side. So I'm going to connect it back to the hip line. So basically you can see nothing was added to the hip. It is just my transfer of zip allowance to this side. This is so that by the time we place like this, can you see that my zip allowance, by the time we sew them together like this, can you see that my zip allowance is showing up here? I just want this skirt to sit very firm on the waistline. You don't want it to bulge and have some gaping at the back. With that being said now, so I'll come here to the hem. Here, I said I was just going to be increasing my length with 3 inches. So I'm just going to mark 3 inches here. And then I will use my ruler to connect it back to the side, because they must be equal at the side here. So this is the center back. It will touch the ground a little. Can you see? So this is just it for our skirt. Okay, so you can see this side, the center back is dropping more, and then of course you can see the front is smaller than it. It's just a little. The person does not want too much. So now I'll go ahead and cut out pieces. Okay, see? So this is what our back piece looks like. Can you see? This is our center back. I'll come here and notch to indicate that this is the center back. Now, because this is longer, it has a bit of a tail at the hem there, so it's easy to identify. But let's say we made it exactly the same length. You have to be very careful with this place because you can see it's looking like this side. It's looking as if there's another hip here, but of course that's the bum bum. The butt is not flat. So can you see, haven't not this side. So now let me place it like this because this is how I'll be joining my skirt. So can you see that my zip allowance has shown up here, which is 1 inch, and at the hip line I have 1.5. I'll be using my lining to turn. So by the time I use ½ inch to turn, I'll be left with 1 inch here. Here that I have 1 inch, I'll be left with ½ inch. So for me to be able to fix my zipper on 1 inch, it means I have to go into the actual measurement. So by going into the actual measurement, it means I'll be taking ½ inch from the actual measurement. So this will actually help to eliminate bulge because our back is smaller. That's our waist at the back is smaller than our waist in front. Of course, the waist in front has the tummy, while the back has the spinal cord, which is inward. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out my linings. It's very easy to sew, so I'm just going to show us first and then we'll fix our band. So I've gone ahead to cut out my lining, and this is the lining for the front. I see I made my lining shorter. This is shorter by about ½ inch. Can you see? Because that's exactly the hemming allowance I added. I also cut the back piece and I made it shorter by the same ½ inch. So this is also the lining for the back, and I made it shorter by ½ inch. So you can see it is also shorter by ½ inch. I'm going to show us something I didn't mention. For the front piece of the skirt, I'm going to be taking away the waist slooper. This is because our waist in front is not straight. Remember that this is a skirt. The butt is longer at the back compared to the front. So if you don't take away this waist slooper that I'll be taking away, you will notice that the skirt will gather around here. That's to give you some smile lines around the front hip line. So now I have my lining under. I'm going to come down by 3/4 inch. If you are dealing with, let's say, hip 50, you can do 1 inch. But in this case, this is hip 43. So I'm doing 3/4 inch. And then we'll slant it to the side. So take note, I came down by 3/4 inch from the center front and I slanted it to the side. You can see it didn't come into the sewing allowance. You can see that it's high here. So all I need to do is to just cut out this side. So this is it. So now that we have done this, I've taken out our waist looper. So I'm going to cut out my band and then I'll show us how to sew our pieces together. So I've gone ahead to cut out my band. My band is 2.5 inches long. Can you see? I have 2 pieces. And I'm going to use gum stay. This is medium weight gum stay. I'm going to use gum stay to fuse it. That's to make it hard. For the front pieces, to sew the front pieces together, this is what we are going to be doing. Remember that we have our lining and main fabric. So this is right side facing right side. So let me just mark the wrong side. So to sew your 4 pieces, you place this lining and lining together here, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine and then sew the hem first. That's the first thing we'll do. Is placed on the right side of your fabric. Okay, So on the right side of my fabric, you make sure that the hip is facing the hip so that you don't interchange it. So I'm going to be sewing on 1/2 inch at the hem here, and I'll do the same thing for the second one, and I'll show us how to sew the center together. To the skirt, can you see the hem? I sewed on 1/2 inch. So, and I've also pressed it. So can you see my 1/2 inch is showing now? It's the same thing that was done here. So this is our side, this is the side, and this is the center. So now, to sew them together, take note of what I'm doing. I'm placing them like this. Placing right side of the Ankara facing right side. Then, you see, I'm going to hold it like this. These three here. Can you see that I removed this part of the lining? Then I will flip the lining now. You want to make sure that they are all aligned. So all you need to do, you can as well pin it this way. So I'm going to flip my lining now this way. Can you see? I'm turning it now to the lining side. You see? So this is Ankara and Ankara. So you can see lining and lining. So now I'll take off this pin and repin all four of them together. This is so that your front piece is one piece, and there's a way it gives it more stability. You can see, you want to make sure that the hem too here, they are all aligning. Right now, having pinned them together, I'm going to take to my sewing machine and sew on 1/2 inch. You can see I have my line, the 1/2 inch mark here, and then I'll sew them on 1/2 inch. I'll come back and show us. So I've sewn together my center piece here. So this is what I have. So now I can open it. You see, my skirt is aligning here at the hem. This is what it looks like from the right side. And then this is what it looks like from the lining side. So for my back piece now, I'm going to sew the hem also. I'm going to sew the hem, then I'll turn the zip allowance side. Okay, here is the part with my zip allowance. I'm going to place my lining too on the right side. And then sew the hem. I'll repeat the same thing for this side. But in this case, I'm not going to be sewing them into each other like I've done for this because we're going to have our zip here. So all I need to do is to turn this side and also turn this side because I'll be doing French finishing. I'll also do the same thing for the front. I'll turn this side and then we'll shape our skirt and fix our band. It's that simple. I've joined my back piece together and I have also ironed my skirts. So I've also ironed it. This is our back pieces. Can you see how the tail is coming out here? And this is what it looks like on the right side. So can you see the man-made effect? So I neatly finished it. So for the front now, can you see? So all I need to do is to place them right side facing right side, and then I'll shape on my sewing allowance. So now look at what we have. Can you see that they are matching up on the sides? Can you see that they are matching up here on the sides? They are equal. So you don't want to make any mistake that will make them not match up. So they are also matching up here, as you can see. So I'm going to be shaping on my sewing allowance. Remember, I added 2 inches for my sewing allowance. So on the waistline, I'll be using my 2 inches, but here on the hip line, I'll be using 1 inch because I want to have ease so that the person can sit comfortably. We always add ease to our outfit. So I'm going to shape it, and then the next thing I'll do is to fix my band. Can you see my band? So I'm going to show us how to fix the band. I've sewn it. Can you see? So now fix my band. You want to open your side seam allowance so that everything is relaxed, because when we're ironing we need to press it open. So now I'll bring my band this way, and then I'll place it. This band I made it, the waist is 33. So my band is about 38 inches. This is 38 inches so that I can overlap it. Okay, so I'm going to place my band. I'll come out on this side by 2 inches. Can you see that? And then I'll pin my band to the waist. So I'm going to pin it round the waistline. So now I see I've sewn my band to the wrong side. Can you see? This is what it looks like from the reverse side. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to place it this way, sew it this way, that's sew on 1/2 inch, and then I'll turn it over and top stitch it, and that will be all, and I'll show us the skirt.
So our skirt is ready. Can you see how it looks? It came out really beautiful. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please like, share and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe and also put on the notification bell so that you get notified once we post a new video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. See you in our next video. Stay safe. Bye.